Peace and blessings, man. You already
There you
know
go,
what it is,
peace.
man. It's Plot in Progress podcast, episode 10. We got a very, very special guest, man. We all about ownership, buying land, owning land, homesteading, black homesteading to be specific. Um, and we got a special guest, a sister who we had connected with online. Um, when we posted the information about the legacy camp. Uh, she stated she was already up there. And so I just told her I would reach out to her and get her on the podcast just to build on it, man, because, you know, you might as well collaborate, get some game, get some knowledge. And if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, sister, go ahead and let the people know who you are. And
yeah, thanks for having me. My name is Sherika Rhymes. A lot of people know me as Harley Quinn in the Phoenix area. It's my biker name. So
okay,
my social club name. So that's who I am. And I am the owner of From Hood to Homestead.
Okay.
from hood to homestead.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
I like
Cornerstone
that.
Ranch. Um, the property is affectionately known as Cornerstone Ranch. From Hood to Homestead are like pretty much my products that we push out that help me advertise my homestead and things that we do, the homestead lifestyle, pretty much.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, we're gonna get into all that, man. First, you know how we do. We start off the podcast with our icebreaker. Who spit those bars? Um, since we've been doing it, man, I haven't guessed one right not one time. I don't know. I thought I was a hip hop head, but it's different. But I got an easy one. I got an easy one for y'all, man. Y'all should know this on some real shit. Y'all should know this. Right when I say it, man. So let me spit the bars, and then we're gonna see if you know where your IQ at. All right. You know what makes me unhappy? When brothers make babies and leave a young mother to be a pappy.
Tupac.
Yeah, we
And
got
since
this
we
one.
all came,
We got this one.
all right, let me finish, man.
All right.
And since we all came from a woman, got our name from a woman, and our gain from a woman, I wonder
Wow.
why we take from our women, why we rape our women. Do we hate our women? So that's what I said. It's an easy one tonight. Everybody, Tupac, hey, that Tupac.
Keep your head up.
yeah. That's
It's important
the
though.
great. Yeah,
It
It was
is.
an important message, for
that was
sure.
an important bar for sure. For sure, that was an important bar, man. Like I said, I had an easy one tonight. I didn't want to stump anybody or give like damn, like the one you came with on the last episode, Nick, with the Goody Mob joint. That was a good one. I should have
Yeah.
known that one. But yeah, that's what it is, man. It was the great ancestor, one of the goats, Tupac. So we'll go ahead and get into it, man. So what first prompted you or motivated you to want to like buy some land? Like, were you already have experience like farming and shit, or was it just a spur of the moment thought, like something inspired you to kind of want to do so?
No, actually, I had been talking to a friend of mine for about, I want to say about, now would be about 8 years, but 5 years, about 4 or 5 years ago. Well, maybe about 5 years ago, a very good friend of mine, shout out to Sister Rayat, she she and I were talking about land acquisitions. She had done some research on finding land. She had found like 100 acres of land, and she was going to partner with someone on this land venture. And so she and I was talking about it. It was something that was important because of our background. So we're all Hebrew Israelites. And for me, I come from a community, my great grandmother, she owned her own land in Ullen, Illinois. All of that property in Ullen, Illinois is where Hebrew Israelites lived and settled and had a whole farm subdivision that they owned. And so, I was pretty much feeling like I needed to pick up the torch and get land. And initially, It started because my dad has land in Mississippi, and I reached out to him and I said, Dad, can I get an acre of land to grow some food? And honestly, he was like, all right, I'll get back to you on that. And he never got back to
Wow.
me. He never got back to me. And so I started researching and looking for land nearby. And the next time I called my dad, I said, Dad, I bought 38 acres of land. Because it was like I don't really wait, you know. It was like
Yeah, you can't be waiting.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like he said he never said no, he never, but you know, sometimes a no answer is an answer. And so
exactly.
and I don't want to be mean. My dad might see this, you know what I'm saying? But I just keeping it real because that was the conversation, and that was really what prompted me. It was like, okay, well, I wanted to grow food for the family. The reason I asked him was to grow food for the family. I had really, my grandmother, when she had her land, she had always been and this is my great grandmother, she was always very instrumental about storing food,
Yep.
growing food, having her own shed, an emergency food source, and emergency
Yep.
food. And so, you know, just knowing some of the things that were happening in the economy at the time, everyone thought I was kind of like tripping. I was married at the time, and
Mm.
I remember my husband looking at me like what's going on, like why the panic? Because it was almost like a panic setting in for me to
Mm-hmm.
get land, and not just get land. At that same time, I was trying to like get land, go to Africa, store food, can food, and everybody was like, "You're doing too much. Like, what's going on?" And I'm like, "Y'all don't see." I'm like, I'm like, "Y'all don't see what's going on." And there was a lot that had filtered that. Like, I'm not gonna even lie. I had been watching some people that was like expatriating over to Africa, but they were buying land,
Yeah.
they were growing food, and I was just like, you know, we're just sitting here. And I honestly, I think age had a lot to do with it too. 39. This happened when I was like
Uh-huh.
34, 36. And
Is this pre-COVID?
well, I bought the land right in the beginning of COVID, like right when COVID started, we bought it. Like I bought it in May of 2020. And
Okay.
Okay.
so I actually, it was weird because I remember talking to the real estate guy, and I was like, you know, at the time I was single, but I was getting married in 10 days. And I was like, I'm going to buy this land, but I need to get married first and buy it as a couple, and I'll revert back to you. And so then, like, as soon as we did that, our wedding plans got canceled because the COVID situation, no one could fly.
Yep.
And so, but we still bought the land because I had walked the land, and just to kind of give you guys an idea of how what happened and how I ended up with the parcel that I got, is that I was researching and looking for land, and I stumbled across land in St. John's, Arizona. And this particular land, my friend had told me about, the one I told you about with the 100 acres. She had already shared with
Mm-hmm.
me that there was land up there, and this is where she was looking to get her 100 acres of land. So I was familiar with the area. I had seen some of their ads. I had seen that they had several divisions. Um, I want to call them like a ranch subdivision.
Ranches. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like very interested in really the pricing is what led me there. And so I was like, I'm just gonna go take a look. Initially, I was looking at a lot that was about 20 acres. I think it was like $15,000 or something like that. And so I got
Yeah.
there, and it was
That's a
one
good
of those.
price.
Yeah, it was a really good price. Everything was like $750 or 780 an acre or something like that. And so I was like, okay. I went into the real estate office, and we seen a big wall. It was like the size of the wall behind me, full of the map divisions of where they have
With
land.
the
And as soon
the
as I walked,
pins, the pins
yeah,
on
Mm-hmm.
there.
as soon as I
Yeah,
walked
yeah.
in there,
Yep.
he goes, there's a contractor sitting in there. Um, and I'm telling him, he's like, well, we have this lot available, this lot. They wanted to show me several. And I was like, okay. So I'm looking at the map, and I'm like, well, getting an idea of where the proximity to town is, the proximity to the convenience, well, the proximity to other things. And so um, the contractor, he's sitting in his chair. He goes, one of those lots up there has a septic on it. And I was like, which one? He's
Oh.
like, it's 3 miles from the well. And I turned to my realtor. I said, take me to that lot. He said, well, the people behind me, they about to go up there. He was like, but I can take you. You want to go? I was like, yeah. He said, you want to go in my car or your car? I said, you know the way, let's go in your car. And he was like, all right. He was like, they're not going to like that too much that I'm taking you to look at this one, but whoever gets there first. So he raced them up there in a Passat SUV. And the other guy had a 4x4 truck. And he actually got up there. He took the back roads. He got up there first. He said, hurry up, get out the car and walk to the lot. Just walk. He said, if they see you on it, you know, they might not even get out and look at it. And that's exactly what I did. And so they turned, the other people that came to look, they turned around and they kept going. And so it was interesting because I got out, I looked at the lot. I even walked ahead of my husband at the time. I'm like, I have to, you know, see this. And he was still kind of like, for him, it was like my dream. So he was just like being supportive. But he was like, I was like, what do you think? And he was just like he was sitting looking at me like, listen, you got us out here in the middle of nowhere. It's like whatever you want to do. And so I walked like midways into the lot. I looked left, I looked right. The realtor said, what do you think? Do you want to hold it? Because they could be going back to the office to hold it and they haven't even seen it. I said, yes, tell them to hold it. And so ultimately, I walked the property, but this is 38 acres of land. I didn't walk the whole thing. It's
right.
At that time, but I ended up walking the property. I ended up seeing the septic system because there was a septic there. I seen it has a lot of juniper trees. It's very beautiful. It's about 6,500 feet up in elevation. And then there's a lot of, you can see the White Mountains from the property. So it's a very beautiful property. It's a very good piece of land, 38 and a half acres. We're on a kind of like a corner lot. So we're not captured where we can't access roads and everything. We're actually very accessible to the roads. But the main reason I got the land at that particular time was to share with my family. I said, okay, I'm going to share with my family. Yeah. We're going to grow food. We're going to come out here. We're going to have a place maybe to build some tiny homes, some cabins, have some resort, like some vacation. That was the plan. And eventually maybe live there as our retirement home, maybe build a home up there and live there. A lot of things changed after we got the land, and it changed the dynamics of what we were going to utilize the land for. And so the main thing that actually happened, and I'm sorry, you guys, because there's like a glare in here. The main thing that actually ended up happening was that my youngest daughter was killed. She was 16 years old. And
I'm sorry to hear that.
Days later, thank you.
Condolences.
Thank you, guys. 10 days after we purchased the land, my daughter was found dead in Buckeye, Arizona, on Highway 2, on I-10.
Wow.
So it kind of stalled everything for a long time in regards to anything that had to be done on the land. We just took, I didn't even go back up there for probably like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And actually I was going to go up there because I had reached out to them to ask them if I could bury my daughter on the land. And initially they said no. The guy that sold me the land, I had reached out to him and he was like, no, you can't, you have to pay it off and all this kind of stuff. And then I had put it on my page, and all of my friends, they started researching.
That's how you get it.
They started researching for me and they were like, no, you can do it. They were like, call the county. One of my good friends, shout out to Erica Stevens. She called me. She said, sis, contact the county and I contacted the county, Apache County. And they did confirm that I could bury my daughter on my land. I just needed to provide a map of where I would be putting the body and, you know, like X marks the spot type of thing and give it over to the county assessor's office. But by that time I had made funeral arrangements and I had paid for a plot, paid for a funeral and all that kind of stuff. So I ended up burying her in Phoenix, Arizona. But that stalled everything that we were going to do, the development of the land. And it really kind of took me back. So I think by the next time I was up there, it was like, maybe July of 2021. And you guys can see some footage that's on YouTube. I walked the land with my brother and his friend and some associates. And we had just kind of thought of some ideas. We had some investment ideas and some investors come out and we talked about things that we wanted to do further. Obviously, 6 months after my daughter died, I got divorced. So a lot of things happened that stalled
Yeah.
development ideas, because I'm just going to keep it real for any women that are on here. I like to consider myself very well rounded, and very fish and very capable, but I'm not gonna lie to you, sisters, and tell you that like owning land, and if your land doesn't have husbandry, that's not an issue, and that can't be difficult, because it can be very difficult, because there's a lot of contractors to speak to, a lot of people that want to take advantage of women that are trying to buy and develop their land. You have water drillers, contractors, people that are hauling in equipment for you, and so
That
um,
goes into my next question, though.
yeah.
As a woman, especially a black woman homesteading, what's been some of the main experiences or challenges?
Yeah.
So, just not being novice, and not being having a lot of being ignorant to a lot of things that I was talking about, aforementioned, about contractors, um, water drilling. I I remember when I left from up there, I came down here and I looked at enrolling myself into electrical school, because I felt like, okay, I'm at the point. I remember having all these grandiose ideas, as women many times do, and I was like, oh my God, I have to scale back, because that was the other thing, is that I was thinking too far ahead of myself. And I think men and women both do that, but women,
We've done it on our land. We're in the
we really
Yeah.
microwave
be
We
age, and
do.
you
we
want
really be
instant.
going like
Yeah, you want instant results, and
yeah, like
the shit just don't happen like that.
yeah. One of the things that it set me back was that I was like, I'm gonna put these tiny homes on here. Like, call my dad. I'm like, I want a 10-acre pond, and I was like, free range cattle. So the thing I ran, the issue that I ran into was like, you can't bring all that equipment, or all of that stuff on your property, and you don't have it fenced in. Because the free range cattle is just going to come in and stumble over all of what you've done, and you won't be very productive. So I'm like, okay, I got 38 acres of land that basically needs to be fenced off before I can really put anything on it. And then it was like, oh, I need to hire people. And that wasn't an issue, but it was like, where are those people going to sleep, eat, and have breaks and eat food? And it was like, oh my God, I need a headquarters. So then I came to the realization that I needed a trailer or a camper, or something that would act as headquarters for the workers that I had working on my property, where they can relieve themselves, go for breaks, things like that. And
Yeah.
so it was like, okay, none of that tiny home stuff is about to happen until you fence off at least the property that's facing the roads. Everything else is facing another property. And then I needed a powerhouse, because I have all this solar equipment, and I didn't have anywhere to store my batteries. So it was like, okay, well, you might as well start with a fence and a powerhouse. And that's
Sure.
basically, where I had to stop and say, fencing itself is thousands of dollars. And start to get that going. And I'll tell you guys the route I took, because women, we do
We,
like
we,
to
we got
shop.
a funny story regarding that. We
I
we we
started
met these
buying one
dudes.
case of barbed wire every time, like every 2 weeks. I would buy a case of barbed
Yeah.
wire. It's like $40. And so then I ended up with a lot of barbed wire in my house that I just didn't ever have, done, because you got to get somebody out there to help you get the fencing down, and you got to put the fence post up. And the other thing is, my land is full of junipers. I had talked to an arborist about clearing some of my trees out, and utilizing some of the wood as fence posts.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's that. So in order for the fence to get built, some of the trees got to come out. So it's like, like I said, it was a lot of jumping ahead of the
Yeah.
gun, and it was
Yep.
like,
Yep.
nope, you got to just double back. So that's what.
It's a process.
Yeah, we thought our fence was gonna be 1,500 to 2,000. We were like, oh yeah, let's get it done next weekend. And then he was like, no, I meant 20,000. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
You remember that, Nick?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
some
a
of the
lot of
challenges
steps.
that as you go into it and you've got ambition on what you're building. You never lose that ambition, but there's certain things that you just don't anticipate when you go into it, especially when you've got that much land. And I think that's one of the things that we ran into as a challenge as well for us was just making sure that we were strategic about what we were doing, how we were doing it, the funds to allocate, where it's going to come from, and those types of things. Those are things that, a lot of people may not even consider when they're going into a project like that. But it's a big undertaking. It requires a lot.
It does. Are you guys familiar with L.E.G.A.C.Y at all? It's an
No.
app.
Never heard of it.
So L.E.G.A.C.Y is an app, and it's very useful if you're going to be on the ranch. You'll download it, you'll put in your parcel number, and it'll show you an aerial view of your property. I utilize it a lot
Okay,
when I'm on
awesome.
my land, so it lets you do things like pin, like if you're walking somewhere, you can pin where you are. And so I utilize that because initially when I realized I needed to do the fencing, I went on the app and it lets you like put a point from one point and it'll tell you how many feet that is. So
Okay.
I soon calculated that what would be the south part of my property, there's about 1,200 feet from one end of the road to the next. And then what
Yeah.
would be the west side of my property, there's 800 feet facing. So I knew then how much barbed wire I needed, depending on how many, like if you want 3 wires or 4, you know what I mean? Like if you want
Yep.
the 3
Yep.
or the 4 lines, and I think I want 4 because of the cattle. That let me know that I need, there's an example for one box of barbed wire. It's about 1,360 feet in a row. That let me know that I needed 4 rows for that one side
Yep.
alone,
Yep.
and it also let me know approximately how many fence posts I got. So I said that to say this: if you guys are wanting to do your fence in sections, you can do it and probably achieve it at way cheaper cost than what he's talking about, depending on what kind of fencing you're looking at. I don't know if you're just wanting barbed
Yeah.
wire fencing with fence posts, but there is a more economical way to go about looking at it, and that app will let you measure where you want to put that fencing. The other thing was,
You said L.E.G.A.C.Y, right?
L.E.G.A.C.Y.
L.E.G.A.C.Y.
It's an
Okay.
app. And the other thing, so once I realized that, I was like, okay. I was like, maybe I need to just start fencing off maybe 600 feet near my septic to put my trailer there. So I scaled back even more, like if that makes sense, because it was like, okay, in order to get started and to have your equipment protected. So those are just different suggestions I have for you guys, that if you can't do your whole parameter of your property right away, you can start with pieces of it where you're going to be
Yeah.
working. And
We
for
did
me,
about
like I
we
needed
did
a
some
south
already.
side.
How much did we do, Nick? Well,
We're almost done with the entire east side
from
of the property.
yeah,
We're almost done with the entire. We've got about 12 posts to put on the east side, and then we'll be done.
yeah. We
So
did the front.
we've got
I don't know the exact footage. The other brothers know the exact footage, but we did a
yeah.
huge part of the front ourselves, and
Yeah,
it
that's
wasn't
dope.
easy. It was
T
it was a
posts.
workout.
We're using
Yeah,
T posts.
Yeah, that's what I was going to order, and they're not cheap.
No,
So did you use T-post for all of them, or did you have some wood? Like,
we had one that's a steel post, which is our corner post, right? We've got a corner
mhm.
post. We're gonna have 2 corner posts on the ends, and they're both gonna be steel.
Okay, yeah,
So we've got to install our other one.
yeah,
so you said earlier, like as far as you just people trying to like get over because maybe you don't know, like you are a novice. We're all novices to this,
hmm
but like
hmm
just not having the game, and you feel that like maybe. So were you trying to say like as far as like a sister trying to do that, you may want somebody like a male counterpart, or
I
you were
definitely
just saying like it
recommend
makes it
it.
difficult?
It
Yeah,
makes it difficult, and I definitely recommend it. Just to kind of give you an idea of what I mean by that too is that when I was working with my arborist on my land, he was telling me about another couple that's not that far away that had a water coat done, and their water quote was like $17,000. And so further into this story, he tells me how their water quote wasn't a full water quote. It was just for the drilling and not the pump and the equipment and yada yada yada. And I'm like,
Wow.
seventeen
and I'm
thousand just to
listening
drill
to
for
him.
the water.
Yeah, I'm listening to him. I'm like, what company was that? He tells me. And I'm like, this is the same company I got a water quote from. So I'm like, it dawns on me. I'm like, I need to call them. I reached out to them and I'm like, I need a full water quote, like the equipment, everything. They come back, sure enough, $40,000 water quote.
Huh,
So
wow.
now I'm mad. Now I'm irritated because if it wasn't for that conversation, I could have been that couple as well.
You never would have known.
And I wouldn't have known. And it put me on this whole
Yeah, makes sense.
research thing. And I was like, and that's kind of, I don't know what's wrong with this. That's kind of what the whole thing for me was like, that panic. Like I said, like, okay, maybe a man, in my mind, I'm a woman, I'm like, maybe a guy would have known that I didn't have the right water quote to start with, but I didn't know about all the pieces and all that. So I was kind of being hard on myself a little bit, but then I was like, okay, a couple made this mistake too. So but anyway, long story short, I got a water quote from more than one company. um I also pulled the water reports. So what it made me do is it made me become more in investigative and do more research. And I don't know if you guys have had a chance
Yeah.
to look at the water reports there at all, or if you have water on your land or the situation. But for me, I did buy my property because it was 3 miles from the convenience well. So I, as a property owner, still have access to utilize the convenience well, and I can get 275 gallons a week from the convenience well. When I
Yeah.
Yeah,
first
you
owned
lucked
the
up too.
property,
You lucked up too with yours having a septic tank already on it. So that was a
yeah.
Man.
And
yeah,
when I first
that was
bought
a
it,
major key.
our water allotment was 500 gallons a week. It wasn't 275. It got lower
Yeah.
with Colorado drying out and more people owning property in that area. But the good thing is, I did my own water like investigation after I spoke to Nielsen Water. I hate to like put their name in it, but you guys are the ones that gave me a partial water quote. Um,
Yeah.
I had a chance to pull up the water reports for the divisions, or basically St. John's. I just put them up for St. John's. And I seen
Yeah. Yeah.
that really no one has successfully drilled water in St. John's since 1989. And that was Chippewa
Wow.
Falls. And so that
You
was a
say
little
that
bit,
again? Hold on, say that. Run that back.
yeah. So no one has really successfully drilled water in St. John's since 1989. And that was Chippewa Falls. And so I got a little suspicious. I'm
Wow.
not gonna even lie to you guys. I got a little bit suspicious about that. I was like, why do we have more technology and less water being drilled? Just to keep it real, I was like, what's going on? And
Yeah.
I pulled up because in Arizona you can look at the the dry well reports. So I'm clicking on them, I'm reviewing them, I'm seeing people paying for drills, wells, dry wells every time they drill, dry well every time they drill, dry well, and I'm getting a little discouraged. Like for real, I was really getting
Yeah.
discouraged. I'm like, this is bad. I'm like, I'm like, and so it came to me. I said, okay, I have to do something about this because if you drill, you still have to pay, whether they hit water or not. You have to pay,
Exactly.
and you're going to be
Exactly.
out hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's like $28,000, $40,000. It's a lot of money, and I'm
Yeah.
like, this is ridiculous. This doesn't make sense. So here's where the woman in me kind of came up and started being a little bit beneficial. I started thinking about all the investigative shows that I've watched, and they've been able to find out what's underground. So
The
I reached
aquifer.
out to a water survey company, and I asked them about what they did, and I actually found one in California, and they handle the water survey. They do a lot of like when you want to make a golf course and you want to put a water in, or you want to do like a water park or something like that, and you need water. They do the water for them. And they was like, yeah, we do water survey, and we'll tell you, we'll test sites for you and tell you about the proximity that we believe the water is and how far you may have to drill and where. And I'm like, this is perfect. I'm like, cha-ching. I'm like, I won't be drilling
Exactly.
blindly. So I talked to them, and this was like a year and a half ago. And they were like, it was in the wintertime. They weren't doing any business until spring. And they said that they charged, it could be more now, but at the time it was $4,000 to test 11 sites on your property for water. I was like, that's
Okay.
perfect because
Okay.
essentially for me, I was just going to break it up, the 11 sites between the 38 acres, north, west, south, and east and west, and just try to see what would happen. And he called me back. He goes, I pulled some water stuff in your area, just doing some soft checks. He said, you have water less than 50 feet from the lot number you gave me. And I was happy. But
Yeah.
in watching Homestead Rescue one time, I was watching a guy. He said, you can have water standing right here. And doesn't mean you have water right there, you know?
Next to
So
you, right?
it kind of took
Yeah.
it away. But um, knowing that I'm 3 miles from the well, the convenience well, and it's above my property, water flows downstream. So him
Come on.
telling me that I have water 50 miles away, I believe that there's going to be water somewhere on my 38 acres. I'm very hopeful. In the event that there's not, then we've been looking at, of course, there's water sources for you to deliver water,
Deliver water. Yeah.
have water put in a cistern for storage and, delivered over time and pumped into your house. But ultimately, we all know that the best thing is to have your own water source, your own well. But yeah, that's pretty expensive. And in Arizona, you only can hire a licensed well driller. You can't do it on your own. I've met many people. I was doing a homeless feed a couple like last weekend. I met a guy that has land up there. He was like, "I'm gonna drill my own well." I was like, bro, I was like, I hope you do, but you can't, so don't get caught.
Right.
So
Right.
but that's one of the things that is kind of a con. And I've been hearing about a lot of people moving from that area. And someone said to me, they was like, do you think a lot of people are moving from that area because of the water situation? I said it could be, but there's a flip side to that. A lot of Black people are moving in that area. And I'm just gonna be
Right.
real, I'm never sugarcoating anything. I told my friends, I said, I have a lot of faith in the Most High, and just because it wasn't water for them doesn't mean it's not gonna be water for me.
Mm.
Precisely.
So that's just
Mm-hmm.
what it is. I don't think I came this far to lose. So we just hopeful
There
and
you
we
go.
just keeping it that
That
way.
has that might have something to do with it too. Like you said, it's a lot of Black people moving up there recently. We met a couple, and then a couple of Black people up there when we were just in the town doing our thing, and then also when we were on the property association call, there was a couple of like 3 or 4 people up there. So that may be a reason why they move. Once we start moving in, you already know the saying. They be ready to
Hmm.
go anyway.
Hmm. I'm actually in a property owner group on Facebook, and I've had so many bad experiences. Um, Being in that property owner group, I just stopped talking in there because they will
Hmm.
take anything you say and like twist it.
Yeah.
It's
Try to
not the
use it.
best
Uh-huh.
experience to be in there and to even converse with them. I had a situation where I looked at aerial view on my land and it looked like some campers was there. And so I post in the group like it looks like somebody's on my land. And all these people jumped in the comments and was like, that doesn't look like your property. That doesn't look like your somebody even got in the comments and said, are you sure you're not squatting on someone else's property? And I'm like, why would I
Mm,
be paying a mortgage and have 38 acres of my own, but want to be on somebody else? Like the stuff that they people say to you in some of these
right.
groups to make you discouraged is
Unintelligent.
ridiculous. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, listen, I only made this post because I wanted to forewarn y'all that somebody is possibly squatting up here, but also to say there's no trespassing signs on the property. So please be careful while
Come
you up
on.
here.
Watch yourself.
Please be careful. And so like 2 weeks later, well, not even 2 weeks later, that weekend, I'm like, I gotta go up there. Because right after that conversation, I'm like, I'm uneasy. I'm like, let me go up there.
Absolutely.
And so I go up there and I didn't see anybody, but again, 38 acres. I'm not about to walk the whole thing. I just went up there and emptied the clip because I feel like if you are up here, you ain't got no business up here. I already said y'all ain't got, and then I kind of felt like it was someone that knew that because they know, they just know what's going on. They're so
Of course.
aware, and they make it their business to be aware of so much that's going on. And so I had it was very interesting, some dialogue. I even had
Mm.
a situation where I hired a guy to do work on my property. I um I hired him to do work on my property and I paid him for storage on some of my tools. And then he was supposed to bring me my tools and he just ghosted like for 2 weeks. He was
Wow.
ghosted. Like I couldn't get a hold of him. And so I had to like threaten him and tell him I was going to report my tools stolen. And you guys, he had like big tools like nail gun, pressure washer, like hedge,
Yeah.
like gas auger, like he had a lot of stuff. And I called the police. Do y'all know St. John's police never made a report on this person for me? And
Sounds about right.
and they took a week to call me back. And they kept telling me that they were so busy up there. And I'm looking at their website at the
Oh
13
yeah, they're
arrests,
not busy at all.
at
Yeah,
the 13 arrests that they've had all year. I'm looking at their website and saying, you guys have had 13 arrests all year. You guys have Andy Griffin kind of jail down there. I
yeah.
mean, you're
Mayberry.
not busy.
Yeah, that's Mayberry.
It's
I
Mayberry.
seen some
It's
shit.
completely Mayberry. And I had to send an email. I had to call. I had to
Of
call more than
course. Of
once.
course. Of
And
course.
it wasn't until that I said that I was going to call another department and get them involved. And someone called. And then
Exactly.
when I reached the police department, the guy was like, "Well, we tried to call you." I said, "What on what day? Because I don't have any missed calls." Well, our
Right.
signal up here is not that bad, that good. You maybe didn't know we called. I said,
Right.
why didn't y'all leave a message? We don't have to leave a message. I said, what law enforcement is calling to follow up on a report and would not leave a message?
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's Fugazi.
So
Yeah.
it was so much collusion in that. And it made me feel very uncomfortable. And I remember telling all my friends that even have, because I have friends that have land in Hallbrook, Snowflake, St. John, Sanders. I remember telling all my friends, like, I don't know if I want to have land up there no more. I remember feeling discouraged and feeling like, is this
Yeah.
what it's going to be? And then I kind of jumped out of that and I was like, I'm not going to let them run me away from my land. They're going to have to just get comfortable being uncomfortable. So, but
Hmm.
yeah, everything hasn't been that welcoming in that area.
Yeah, that's expected. We're facing not those type of circumstances, but we face a little bit of adversity as well.
Yeah.
I was watching this podcast. It was about buying land, and that was a recent study showed that Arizona is number one in the whole country
Mm,
um, as far as purchasing land, specifically Apache County.
mm.
And I
Wow.
was just and
Crazy.
I'm wondering, yeah, and I was wondering like why.
Mm.
Um, is it the you think it's the you get more land for your money or is it I don't know, man. It's just kind of tripped
I
me
think
out a
that
little
has a
bit.
lot to do with it. I think it's the location is for the most part, the weather is not too unbearable. The season is good. Like
Yeah.
it's ranch land. So people, I think it has a lot to do with what happened in the economy, with the pandemic. When I went up there, the last time I went, well, the time before last time I went up there, I wanted a map, like one of the street maps on paper. Because I had one in my phone. And I called
Mhm.
my realtor and he was like, well, you usually could go in our office and get one, but our office is closed because we sold all our lots. And then all of a sudden, I see more people buying lots. And so that's when I was like, I thought they sold all their lots. That's when they clicked down on me like, oh, the white folks moving out. Like, that's why they have land for sale again. Because, even in my property owner associations group, a lot of them will say they're going to put their land up, they're going to
Mhm.
go. But a lot of them were going into, I don't want to say bankruptcy, but a lot of them had went into foreclosure. They
Mm.
were openly talking about not being able to
Yeah.
afford their lots, in the group
Yeah.
chat. So
Right.
a lot of them had went into foreclosure. And this is the thing though, and I hate to keep kind of harping on this, but it's just our time. We had land in Oklahoma, we've had land in New
Yep.
Mexico was the first black
Right.
settlement. And so if land is being handed over to us again in large amounts, it's past due. We all should have, a lot of our family should have inherited 40 acres anyway.
Come
And
on.
Exactly.
so this is past due. Them being up there, wherever they are, and they're acquiring it. I'm happy for them. Wherever black people
Hmm.
are acquiring it, whether it's St. John's or anywhere, I'm happy for them.
Wherever it's at. Yeah,
It's
that's
really
how I
the
feel.
move. Yeah,
So
it's the move.
wrapping up, what pointers or insight would you give a brother or sister who was thinking about buying land, whether it be for just the equity of it, homestead, rental properties, what type of insight would you give them for
I
those who
would
may be
say that
thinking about it?
a lot of people have asked me over the years, like how easy land purchasing land is easy. It's to me it's easier than buying a home. It's less red tape than buying a home.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Yep.
don't have a credit that's in a excellent condition, that's okay. Don't be discouraged because there's a lot of people that will still work with you. I think in this time and age, people need to consider it more than ever because if you're, especially if you're a renter and you're not a homeowner, it's important to get something that you can own and that can be yours and your family's. I
Yeah.
tell my daughter this all the time. The land that I own is the only thing that I own that's worth value to me because my cars will depreciate in value, my jewelry, things I have in my home,
Yep.
but that land will be there
Yep.
and I'll be able to pass it on for generations. And if they utilize it the correct way, they'll be able to make money off of it and
Yep.
live there and sustain. The other thing I tell people is that if you find that you can't purchase a home, purchase an RV or a camper or something and get you some land because then you know that with the constant rises in rent and economy, you will always have somewhere you can
Yep.
take you and your family to live and to go. But I think that it's just the very mandatory necessary move for everyone to have a backup plan, especially if you're renting. If you don't have control over your housing situation, meaning you're not a owner, you're not a landlord, or you don't own your home, you need
Mm-hmm.
to take control and go buy you a little piece of land. It's probably not going to cost as nearly much as you think. They have lots out there, $1,000, $2,000. You can get a little
Yep.
corner of an acre, but something where you can put an RV or a camper. That is what I've been really kind of trying to press to people is to trying to, and I think people feel like I'm trying to push them in tiny homes or RVs, but that's not the case. I'm just really trying to push people that don't own anything.
Ownership,
Yeah.
ownership.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Ownership,
yeah,
ownership.
bro.
Yeah. For real. Yeah, for real. I agree with you, man. So where can the people what's your YouTube channel? Where can they find you
Yeah.
at and
Sure.
what you got going on and coming up just so people can check you out.
So I'm on YouTube from Hood to Homestead. This little symbol, you'll see it when you get there. Um, you can follow me on Patreon if you want to learn how to cultivate. I do offer Patreon classes for people who want to learn how to grow from seed to harvest. You also can connect with me via my daughter's nonprofit organization, which remember I said earlier on in the podcast, the land was for my family and I. When my
Right.
daughter
Yeah.
my daughter became deceased, we decided to section off her 4 acres of her land to a nonprofit organization, which will
Okay.
be we're going to build a safe haven home there for children that have been sex trafficked and youth. So that organization is Justice for Anaya Walker Foundation, and you can visit us at justiceforanayaWalkerFoundation.org and learn more about that. But we will be utilizing the land. We won a grant um, last year with Pinnacle Prevention to help
Oh, that's what's up.
grow and be a part of Arizona's Hunger Coalition. So we will be taking that further, and that's some of the things that we do right now as far as the land goes. Is that that initiative is to grow food and provide food to families and to provide food to food banks and to provide food for the safe haven, but also teach the children that are a part of the safe haven home how to grow food and become sustainable.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Big
Dope
big
work.
salute to you. Yeah, big salute to you, especially doing that dolo and overcoming those adversities and just buying land. Like you was out there before us. We've been out there what, like 2 years now? What is
Paving
it,
the
two
way.
years, bro? Huh?
Yeah. A little over 2 years now.
Little, yeah, almost 2 years. Yeah. So the fact you already out there, man, we definitely gotta, trade some game, get some insight.
Yeah, we got to link
This is
up out
just a
there.
this yeah, link up out there. This is
Yeah,
definitely we took our families up there last year. Everybody took the significant
October.
others and the
yeah.
kids. Yeah, in October,
They
just
What
to
loved it.
show the family
subdivision
the
are you
land.
guys
They
in?
loved it.
Are you
Uh,
guys in a
G
division?
bar. Yeah. We're,
Are
we're
you
in the G bar.
G bar?
Yeah. It's up. It's north of St. John's, about 10 miles outside of St. John's.
yeah,
Okay.
like from where the little town is, it's probably like
Mhm.
that's probably like
Are you a
20
part of a
minutes.
division though, like Sierra Woodland Valley Ranch or Sierra? No.
Nah.
Okay. That's good.
Mm-mm.
So you don't have to probably worry about a lot of that division stuff, that
Yeah, yeah,
HOA
it's not.
stuff. Okay.
Nah, not really,
I want to
not
thank y'all
really.
for having us on me on the show, and I really look forward to working with you guys to some capacity. And your whole initiative that you have is really dope. That's what gravitated me towards having a conversation with you guys. I love to see stuff that's happening with kids, and I definitely refer some people that I knew that had young youth that I could see benefiting from your program. So
For sure. Appreciate you.
It's
For
greatly
sure, Will.
appreciated. That's speaking of that, we've got the Legacy Camp for those
Yeah,
that don't know and are not aware already. If you haven't followed us on IG, on YouTube, on Facebook, please follow us there. You can find out all about the latest things that are going on. We've got the Legacy Camp retreat that's coming up April the 5th through the 7th. We are hosting an opportunity to take 20 young men up to the land and just show them what it means to really be in your essence, in your nature. Get away from this concrete jungle and just get out and tap into nature.
those nights up there are amazing. I never seen some
Man,
shit like that before, man. Like the stars and it's crazy.
somebody asked me that the other day. They said, have you looked at the stars on your land at night? I said, no, I've never been out there at night. They was like, really? I said, no. As soon as it started getting dark, I head back downtown, down because it's so much up there. Like I don't know.
yeah.
Have you guys seen wildlife on your property at all?
Jackrabbits and like
Oh
moose
yeah.
and shit like that.
Elk.
You
Yeah,
seen moose?
cows. Yeah,
You seen a
yeah.
moose? I
We
would have
seen
lost. I'd have been so happy to see a moose. Was it big?
yeah.
Oh,
Up
huge.
the huge jackrabbits is huge too. But at
Yeah.
nighttime we went up there. We went up there and camped, and it was it was amazing, man. It looked like some HD in real life shit. But it was 4 or 5 of us that went up there. 7 of us that go in on the
Wow.
land.
The
But yeah,
first time I went,
you gotta check it out at night. You gotta check it out at night.
Yeah, you
It's
have
the
to.
most beautiful shit I've probably ever seen.
up there, I seen elk the size of horses. They were huge. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. And next time I walked on my property, I seen all kinds of print and stuff. But some I didn't recognize. I had to send to the wild game people. And I put it in the group chat for the POA.
Sasquatch.
And they were like, it looks like it could be bear. I went down there to pick up my little parking ticket and my well key. And the guy that gave it to me, he goes, are you gonna be hiring help? He was I was like, yeah. He's like, because you got those nails on. He said, I said, are there bears up here? He said, I heard there are up there where you at.
Of course.
Right, exactly. That was another little tactic to get me out of here. He was like, I heard there are up there where you are. So ever since
Yeah,
then, I was like, and then Arizona's been in the news for having those jaguars. So I was like, I gotta get some trail
exactly.
cams and see what we dealing with up there.
Yeah, yeah, for
I was gonna
sure.
say that rabbit that we saw that was out there one of the times before was one of the largest rabbits that I've seen in my life. It was huge.
You caught it?
Nah, we
No,
just
we
seen
didn't.
it.
We saw it.
I was gonna
We
say,
saw
did you
it.
take a picture of it?
That motherfucker looked like Bugs Bunny.
Did we get a photo of it?
Nah, it was
That would
I'm
gone.
creep
trying to
me
think. Yeah.
out.
Yeah, it
Seeing a
was
rabbit that
huge.
big.
Yeah, yeah.
See, this is why I was from hood to homestead, because I'm just gonna keep it real on my channel. I'm from Chicago. I've never done any.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I just posted on my page, like even livestock. Like I'm
Hmm.
trying to ease my way into seeing if
Mm-hmm.
that's for me,
Well,
because
it's time
Mm-hmm.
for us to get acclimated in this culture. You know what I mean? We've been doing it. It's not too many years ago that our grandparents, it's probably 3 or 4
Exactly.
generations that they had to grow their own shit, make their
Yep.
own plots, get their own land, make their own fences. You know what I mean? They had to do all this shit. We're spoiled at this point, but now
yeah, yeah.
when if and when shit gets squiggly, we're gonna have to be out there doing what we got to do. So
Yep.
um, I just want to thank you again for coming on the show. We definitely gonna build with you. And
For sure.
you know, you got some neighbors up there, so
I appreciate it, and
Indeed.
I was so happy to know that too. I've been telling everybody like more black people coming makes me want to hold on to my land, just to see what things are going to
Yes, sir.
develop into.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, we appreciate your time, man. We're gonna wrap things up. Peace and
Thanks,
blessings.
y'all. Peace, y'all. Have a good night.
Same to you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Here
you.
at the Growth Spot, we are unified in action to build, protect, and expand fruitful legacy of love, equity, growth, ancestral, cooperative, and yield. Peace.
Peace.